Yo, yo, yo! What is rolling, everybody? You are watching a brand spanking new video here on the Car Boot Collectors YouTube channel, and today I'm bringing back an old fan favourite, or at least a YouTube algorithm favourite, the What's in the Box. In the same way that Tootie UK, Stu invented, not just coined, invented the term CEX roulette, I invented the term What's in the Box. When referring to action figures, I started this, alright? You can keep your slime. You can keep your Hot Wheels cars that are in little eggs covered in slime. I invented What's in the Box of action figures, okay? So anyway, I digress. This is a lovely, lovely box full of all sorts of action figures and toys and collectibles and bits and pieces. This is fresh out of storage. Sorting out a bit of my stuff in storage at the moment. I've got a few boxes like this which are just mixed loose action figures. Some of these things I think, like I took to a toy fair at some point in the past, and I'm just getting around to sort of sorting through some of this mixed stuff and getting some of it listed up on the eBay shop. So this is one of a few boxes that I've got at hand at the moment, which is a real mixture of bits and pieces, action figures, collectibles. Yeah, a real mixed box. One of the other ones I pulled out was full of Muppet figures and Lord of the Rings figures, so I'll get around to those. We'll make this a little series, but this is part one of the Car Boot Collector Vault. What's in the box, if you will. It's all stored in these, like, they're called like banker boxes, these cardboard boxes for like paperwork. Recommendation: if you're putting stuff in a storage, don't use these because they're crap. They really, I don't know if you can, I've not the tripod, but they just bend as soon as you, even if you fill them evenly or with like a nice weight distribution, as soon as you start stacking them, they just crumble in. They aren't great. But anyway, I digress. Maybe I'm just using them wrong because, as I said already, they are intended for paperwork. But I digress. Action figures are in this one. Let's get on and show you what is in here. So, item numero one. The big one, as you can see right here, but one of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy figures. This is from the film of Martin Freeman, about 20 years ago. In the inner bubble, but not in the main packaging. If I recall, I had a set of these and the packets were really battered, so I just sold them as loose ones. I think that's the only one I've got left. Marvin the Robot, or the Android, goes for pretty good money from that series. The other ones are not that sought after, at least they weren't. Factory sealed Mega Blocks, Pirates Caribbean, little Will Turner set there. It's new on the card. We've got a few codename Kids Next Door figures. I used to absolutely love this show. This was Cartoon Network show in sort of mid to late noughties. And I do remember at the time really wanting toys for it, and you just couldn't find them. They weren't in the shops, or at least they weren't around here. But yeah, we've got number 2. I think that's number 4, and that might be number 5. There might be some more in here. These are the larger scale ones. These are quite big, chunky figures. There's some smaller ones that they did vehicles and like robots and stuff for, but these are the big ones. Don't think I've got any of the bits for those, unfortunately. They are quite collectible. They are quite sought after. It is reaching that like sort of 20-25 year nostalgia window now. So these are picking up a little bit of collectability. But unfortunately, those ones, I don't remember having any bits for those. A tin toy, a tin litho toy. I don't know what this is. No markings on it that I can see. AM, I'm not sure what that is. It's not in very good condition, whatever it is. Sanji from One Piece. This is one of the Mattel figures from the early noughties. Some of these were recalled in the Mattel paint scandal. I don't know if this one is. As long as you're not putting it in your mouth, it's probably safe to own. Bits in bags usually indicates it's got the bits of it, and so I put them in a bag to keep it all together. This is one of the American Werewolf in London figures, with his base there. There's a few different variants of this one. These were made by Sota. Pretty sure they're a defunct company now, but they used to make a lot of obscure horror stuff. And these used to be quite sought after. I don't think they are so much anymore, because the whole appeal of them as a collector in the secondary market was that it was an obscure figure that another company hadn't made figures for. And now NECA just churn out figures from all of these properties. Having like one of these, it doesn't have the same street cred as it did when the only option was one of these and they were hard to find. So Still a nice figure, don't get me wrong, and it's still of demand to somebody, but not as much as it used to be. Their Killer Clown figure used to be silly money. That's like come right down now. And they did all sorts of stuff. They did figures from the Mummy. They did figures for loads of stuff in that range. There was a Leprechaun figure that never came out, which is a shame because it looked pretty cool. Doctor Who, we've got the Slitheen and the Space Pig. Very nice little set. Definitely think these character Doctor Who figures, these are like one for the future. I think these are going to be quite well collected in years to come. I still have all of my original ones, but I have thought about before collecting, like filling in the gaps. I've got most of them, but I have pondered about getting some more of these. But yeah, they're really nice. And to think back in the day, that was like $5.99 at retail. That's such great figures, they really are. Still very affordable, even new and sealed. The vast majority of them aren't going to cost much more than a tenner, which is mad. Okay, we've got a Hellboy figure. I do remember this one is battered. This is definitely like one, I'm not going to take it out of the bag, but it's missing limbs, it's pretty broken up. It's one of the Dark Horse comic, like the animated one. It's pretty battered. I think that came from a car boot sale. I remember you get it sometimes at the car boot where you find like obscure collector figures in a pile of toys that have clearly been trashed and played with. And you think, how did that end up there? That would have been like something from like Forbidden Planet or something in its time. A little Greek or possibly Roman figure. He's a Roman, isn't he? Sort of gladiator. That's a sleek history figure. A rock. I'm pretty sure this belongs to an Incredible Hulk figure, like one of the Play School, like the kids ones. I don't think it's in this box, but it might be in one of the others. A Spawn figure of some description. There's a million different ones of those. A little toffee tin for Sharp's Toffee. This is probably 1920s, 1930s. It's much older than literally everything else in here. It's a mascot there. I think he's called Mr. Nut, which is a nickname I think is pretty worth having. There he is. There's number 1 from Codename Kids Next Door. So I think it's just number 3 we're missing so far. It might be in here. I don't remember having all of them, but might do. It's a bold guy with sunglasses. A mini DV tape, which is a shame because I found some more of those and I sold all of them the other day as a job lot, so now I've just got one stray mini DV tape. Another sleek figure, another gladiator. Lawn from Angel. The base is in here somewhere for this one. There he is. So there's a few different Lawn figures all in sort of colourful garb. I couldn't really get into Angel. I did try and watch it a few years ago. I like Buffy, but I just couldn't get into Angel. I found it, just couldn't really get into it. Star Wars figure, modern. I think that's called like a tactical droid or something. That's quite a sought after figure. It's from one of the battle packs. So most stuff in here is bagged. If it's bagged up, it's because it would have been taken to a show or something just to keep the bits together. I don't tend to put things in these sort of bags anymore because I find them quite wasteful. They get a bit manky quite quickly. It's one of the Kong figures with the bits. You see these figures about often, but you don't ever see them with the bits. So that's quite a nice one. Quite uncommon to get them complete. That's one of the Play School Marvel figures. See, like big chunk, like Rescue Hero style figures. Okay, Pirates of the Caribbean Micro Fleet. These are really nice. They're like the little Polly Pocket style micro, like action fleet type vehicles. They're called Pirate Fleet. There's a few of these. That's the sort of like government official ship, I believe. It's got Elizabeth Swann in there, and I think it's got like Norrington. I don't know, but one of them. I've got some spare figures for those somewhere as well that I've been hanging on to. But I think every time I've ever found them, luckily they've had all the bits, so I've never really needed to use the spares. It is an oddball item. This is a peculiar one. It says Lego. It says Lego minifigure from Little Robots. Quite an obscure Lego line. I don't know if these were released internationally. They might have just been released in the UK. I think they've got like a weird cult following, but they're not massively valuable. So there's one of them. I did see another one in here, I think. I'm pretty sure there's another one in here somewhere. Batman animated series. One of the Tron Legacy figures. These are quite nice figures. I think this is one of the talking ones that lights up. These were taking up shelf space in the Entertainer, like nationwide, for pennies for so long, and they're starting to get a little bit of demand now. These Tron Legacy figures, and they are nice figures. I did buy a few when they were on clearance, which they were on clearance forever, really. Okay. Bag of Monsters Inc. figures. They're the proper, I think they're made by Mattel. You see a lot of the Burger King or the McDonald's toys around, but not really much of those ones. Okay. We've got another. It's one of the Duplo little robots there. It's another one of those. I might have had an incomplete set that I just took the figures out. I don't remember buying them on their own, unless they came in a lot. A Fraggle Rock Doozer. These are sought after. These are worth quite a chunk of dollar. Don't see these often, and when you do, they're usually pretty battered. If I remember, this one's in quite nice shape, although a bit of it has just flaked off, so that's in there somewhere. A bit of his gear has broken off, unfortunately. It's fell in there. I'll find it though. But that's a Doozer. It doesn't look like anything's broken on it though, does it? Don't know, maybe it was just a bit of some other junk in the bag. A wind-up Doozer though, they're sought after. I know Toy Polloi a big fan of those. I think that one came from like an antique shop or something. Another Tron Legacy figure. Not too much more in there now. Another mini DV, that's good. At least I've got a couple. Having one of those is a pain, but a few of them easy enough to move. A Cindy. Probably a late 70s Cindy. Bendy legs, it might be like a ballerina or something. Quite nice condition, not too bad. It's an okay Cindy doll. A Simpsons necktie. Ties of any category are pretty hard sellers, but Simpsons stuff generally goes quite well, doesn't it? Quite a lot of people collect it. Got a Hungry Caterpillar. Little plush toy. This thing, what is this? I think this was a video game character. So I'm bidding on some stuff on an auction, I don't want to miss it. Yeah, what have I wrote? Grenlock? I can't remember what this was from. It might have been like a fantasy MMO type game. There's bits that are falling out for to put them all together. I can't remember what that's from. Absolutely no idea. I think I had the full set of them, whatever they were. They might have been... I feel like these were made by like Sony Collectibles. It might be a God of War type game. I don't know. Can't remember. A Bendy figure. That's from Captain Harlock. The lady character. Can't remember her name. I don't know the name. Davy Jones ship from the Micro Fleet. Yet again, complete. All the figures are in there, all the bits. You can see the little tiny Macus and the little Davy Jones in there. These are really nice. I do like these. I did put together a set of those myself. I had on display for quite a while. Haven't had them out for a while. I do like them. Really nice little things. The Mystery Gold Mega Bloks Call of Duty figure. This was one of the blind bag ones. I priced up at £3 at some point. I don't know if that's increased or decreased in value, but I think at the time they were quite sought after. The Call of Duty blind bags that I remember people really wanted for years. Like people always used to go, oh, I'd love Call of Duty Lego or figures or whatever. And then when they actually came out, nobody bought them. Okay. These are interesting. These are bootleg Gears of War figures. These were on sale in Poundland probably about 10-15 years ago. I think they're called like Power something. They're not bad little figures, but they obviously are like bootleg Gears of War dudes. They're not bad little figures. I bought a set of these. I've still got somewhere sealed. They only cost like £1 new, and I think at the time people were flipping them on eBay. But you know, 10 odd years later, they're probably quite hard to get, especially loose, because I imagine a lot of people did just buy them and keep them sealed if they did bother buying them at all. It wouldn't be a car boot collector's video without some soldiers. So that's a couple of Britain's Detail mortar crews, are both incomplete, unfortunately. These are rugs. It's an artist that did paintings of cats on rugs, and there's a series of figurines. I don't see, they're like resin ornaments, and they came on these rugs. I don't think the figurines are in this box. I might still have them, or I might not have had them to begin with. I feel like I had a couple of extras of the rugs. It's a little Yu-Gi-Oh figure. Futurama Planet Express ship. Well, I'm going to take out the bag. I don't want to take everything out because it's just going to go on too long. Still quite a lot to get through. That's a really nice little model. They're made by More Collectibles. Comes with the bits and bobs in there. Really nice model of the Planet Express ship. There's only a couple. There's that one and there's the Loot Crate one. That's probably the better one. I didn't even get out of the bag, did I? Stormbreaker. Alex Rider figure from the book series and then the failed film series. These figures are rare, but nobody wants them. They really are one of those lines. Like, they're really hard to find. I don't think there's a single person on the planet actively collecting them. It's only about 3 or 4 figures in the set. That's a little Digimon figure. It's wasting a lot of plastic being in a giant bag. I think there's a fair few more Digimon bits in here somewhere, I would imagine. A lump of brass, a retro brass frog there, 70s. Classic grandma's mantelpiece item. Probably about £1 in scrap value. So there's that. A shark. I think this is Pirates of the Caribbean. It looks like there's a fair few loose Pirates of the Caribbean bits that have ended up in this box. So there's those two. Again, another line which is starting to pick up a little bit of traction. There's a few figures that do bring some pretty good money from that range now, and they are nice figures, and most of them are still very cheap. So it's definitely a line if you're interested in picking up some. They're very affordable at the moment. The figure of, I think it's Norrington in his more like non-pirate gear and his sort of like blue official gear. That one's one of the only ones that's really going to cost some serious money, but the rest are all pretty inexpensive. We've got a Mezco Run DMC figure. I don't know which one this is because they made Run DMC and Jam Master J. That's a complete one. I did find I have a full set of these in storage, but missing the accessories. I think I bought them really cheap at a toy fair years ago. I did want to pick up a set of these for a long time, but it's another one of those lines that's just expensive, and they do pop up often, but it's always one of those ones I'd rather find them out in the wild and not pay so much for them. But yeah, the Mezco Run DMC figures, I've got, well, I've got the set of them. There's a few variants, like costume variants, and they did a Public Enemy set as well, which I picked up really cheap on eBay years ago. So they just made Chuck D and Flavor Flav. And again, there's a couple of costume variants of those, but they're all pretty hard to find these days. We've got a Ford emblem for a bonnet. There's that. Now this is a rare figure. I'm hoping all the bits are in here because I know I did have all the bits. This is Deacon from Prometheus, a NECA figure. For this figure, I think has dropped in value quite a bit because I think this used to go for about £150 loose. That's one of its bits, and it should come with the jockey mask. You open it up and it's got the little head in it. I did see the jockey mask when I flicked through this box. It might have been this box or one of the other boxes. But I did see it. I think it should have 2 of those, and there might be a base. I don't think I ever had the base for it. So we'll see. Hopefully those bits are in these, because it's definitely gone down in value, but it's still a fairly sought after figure. Some bits for that Spawn Pokemon. An OG Harry Potter figure there. That's Chamber of Secrets one in the Webby robe. We've got a Baby Godzilla. That's from the Trendmasters range for the 90s film. So just still checking the auction so stuff's fallen off. That's for the Harry Potter figure. That came with slime in it originally. Should have a little wand as well. I don't know if that's in here. It might be. I've got a Toad Borg from Bucky O'Hare. A little bit older than most of the stuff in this box, as you can see. Another one of those. That's nice. That's from Codename Kids Next Door, I believe. A little PVC figure of a pirate with a load of sweets in his beard. I think that's from Codename Kids Next Door. We've got a lot of OG badges. I believe these are all 60s or older. Yeah, 60s advertising badges. There's much left in there now. A little Yu-Gi-Oh figure. Dr. Teeth from the Muppets. I've got all the accessories. They're in another bag though. So yeah, I did see the bits for him in the Muppets box. Another Yu-Gi-Oh dude. I think he's from Virtua Fighter. It's one of the fighting games. He's got a hand missing, unfortunately. Yeah, there's another one of Deacon's phallic parts. So, yeah, I did see that head bit. I think it's in one of the other boxes. I definitely did see it when I was sorting these bits, or, you know, when I got these bits out. Another Yu-Gi-Oh man. And that axe goes to the Orc. Getting into the last couple bits now. A little medallion there. The Theoretical Auxiliary Forces Association of Middlesex. A little Wade membership piece. And a Pokemon card. Pokemon card there. Koga's Beedrill in a little sleeve. That's Doctor Who, a Jadoon dropship. And that's about it really, before we get into the real intrinsic little odds and pieces, which are pretty cool, don't get me wrong, but if I show all of these, it's going to go on for absolutely hours, isn't it? A little Watney's brown badge. So I think we're going to leave it there. That's the first in the series of the Car Boot Archive series, What's in the Box. Some interesting bits and bobs there for me to sort through. Probably won't do much with it until I've gone through all of it, because I think there's bits and bobs from all of it in the other boxes. So I know for sure I've got all of his bits, and I know I've got the little head for Deacon. So we'll hang on and wait till it's all sorted, and then I'll sift through it and get some of it into bundles. I think is probably the best shout. So yeah, there you go. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. We'll see you soon. We've got some car boot videos coming up this weekend, I would imagine. The weather's looking very nice. So yeah, see you soon. Cheers.